Hello and welcome to IP Study Video Lectures, and today we are going to discuss Chapter 8 from Grade 7 Social Science, and the name of the chapter is Political Formation in the 18th Century. In this chapter we are going to cover three important topics: the later Mughals, foreign invasions and independent kingdoms. So now let us dive into the chapter. So we know during the second half of 17th century, the Mughal Empire, it faced a lot of challenges and it slowly started to decline. And in the first half of 18th century, its political boundary was reshaped. The area it controlled shrank due to the emergence of number of independent kingdoms. So now let us come to the first topic of the chapter, later Mughals. So Aurangzeb died in the year 1707. So all the kings who came after him, they were known as the later Mughals. So the first ruler was the Bahadur Shah first. He ruled from 1707 to 1712. So Bahadur Shah, he ruled for few years, and during his rule, he tried to maintain a friendly relation with the Rajput. And how did he do so? By acknowledging Ajit Singh as the ruler of Jodhpur. He also did the same with the Marathas, and he released Sahu, who was the grandson of Shivaji. Okay, and he also gave Sahu an important administrative role. So he was trying to maintain a friendly relationship with the other kingdoms. Okay, and he also tried to build friendly relation with the Sikhs. Okay, so in this, or we can say during the rule of Bahadur Shah, it was more diplomatic. Okay, now comes Jahandar Shah. He ruled from 1712 to 1713, a very short period of time. Okay, so after the death of Bahadur Shah first, he was replaced, or we can say the succession or the successor was the Jahandar Shah. And it wasn't an easy succession. There was a war of succession regarding who will take the throne, and Jahandar Shah became victorious and he became the ruler. However, he was just a ruler in the name. Okay, he was actually a puppet in the hand of one of the most powerful noble at that time, Zulfikar Khan. And Jahandar Shah first, he ruled for a short time and he was overthrown by his nephew Farrukh Sihar. So Farrukh Sihar, he ruled from 1713 to 1719, and again Farrukh Sihar also did not have any real power. He was only the ruler in the name. The actual power was in the hand of Sayyid brothers, Abdullah Khan Baraha and Hussain Ali Khan Baraha. Okay, and they were also called the kingmakers, and they actually had the power, real power. As such, in 1719, they removed Farrukh Sihar and they replaced Farrukh Sihar with their own puppet king. However, after few rulers, they did not like the rulers, and eventually they replaced all the rulers with Muhammad Shah as the emperor. Okay, so Muhammad Shah, he became the emperor of Mughal Empire in 1719, and he ruled for a long time, 1719 to 1748. He was also called as Rangila because of his personality. And during his rule, he silently watched the breakup of the Mughal Empire and he did not do anything about it. However, he and some nobles under the leadership of Chin Kilich Khan, they assassinate one of the Sayyid brothers. Okay, so he made Nizam ul Mulk the viceroy of Deccan. Okay, and Nizam ul Mulk, he tried to do some good with the affairs of the state. However, because of the inefficiency of the Mughal emperor, that is Muhammad Shah, he could not do much. So what happened? He left the Mughal court and he independently started to rule Hyderabad. However, he maintained a close and friendly relation with the other Mughals. Okay, so after the death of Muhammad Shah in 1748, the Mughal Empire only remained in the name with a small area they were controlling around Delhi. Okay, so we can say Muhammad Shah, after the death of Muhammad Shah, the Mughal Empire actually disintegrated. Okay, so now let us see the period from 1748 to 1858. So after Muhammad Shah's rule, or after the death of Muhammad Shah, various regional kingdoms started to emerge and they become powerful, and the Mughal Empire became more weak. And in the same time, the British also came, and within few years, it was the British who actually emerged as the most powerful, we can say, group in the region. As such, the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah, was removed from his throne, and thus came the end of Mughal Empire. It was the British, after the revolt of 1857, they removed Bahadur Shah and they declared that there will be no further emperor in the Mughal Empire. Okay, this was the end of the great Mughal Empire. So now the next topic is foreign invasion. So with the mighty Mughal Empire struggling in the 18th century, many foreign invaders, they took advantage of it. As such, we see many Afghan rulers, they conducted a series of raids in India, and they plundered and looted away vast amount of wealth from India. Okay, and this invasion also further declined the Mughal Empire, or we can say weakened the Mughal Empire. One of the case was the case of Nadir Shah, a Persian general. In 1739, he attacked and looted Delhi, and in this time only he took away the Kohinoor diamond and the famous peacock throne of Shahjahan to Afghanistan. So thus they came, they invaded, they plundered, and they took away wealth from India. Nadir Shah, he was assassinated in 1747. So after Nadir Shah, Ahmad Shah Abdali now became the new independent ruler of Afghanistan. Similar to Nadir Shah, he also invaded India, plundered, and took away huge amount of wealth from India. Okay, if we see the areas that he raided, Lahore, Kashmir, Punjab, Sindh, Delhi, Mathura, so he plundered all this area. Okay. However, during this time only, Marathas were actually emerging as a very strong power. Thus, now it was not the Mughals but the Marathas who were actually locked in with the fight, or we can say who were actually resisting the invasion from Ahmad Shah Abdali. However, Marathas, they were eventually defeated in the third battle of Panipat in 1761. Thus, with this defeat, the Marathas were also completely crushed. So after Maratha, later on, the Sikhs, they actually resisted the Afghans and their invasion, and thus they could not actually consolidate their position in India. So we see it wasn't the Mughals but the Marathas and the Sikhs who actually, in the later half of the 18th or 19th century, we can say, they actually fought against the foreign invaders. So now the next topic is independent kingdoms. So in the 18th century, as we have already discussed, the Mughal Empire was slowly declining, but at the same time, various autonomous states were actually emerging, such as in Bengal, we find Murshid Quli Khan. Okay. In Awadh, under Burhanul Mulk Saad Khan. In Hyderabad, under Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah. Carnatic, under Saadullah Khan. Hyder Ali in Mysore. Jats under Charuman and Surajmal. Sikhs under the Ranjit Singh. So these were the very different autonomous power that was slowly emerging and becoming powerful in the same time when the Mughal Empire was declining. Firstly, let us discuss the Jats. So the Jats, they occupied the region around Delhi, Agra and Mathura. They were mostly farmers, or we can say their main occupation was farming. Okay, and they were known for their valor, energy and perseverance. The two famous village men were Charuman and Rajaram. Badan Singh, he actually organized the scattered Jats, and he also constructed forts, and he built up a strong army. Thus, we can say he laid the foundation of new ruling dynasty in Bharatpur. After Badan Singh, his son Surajmal, he extended the territories of the Jats in the district of Agra, Mathura, Meerut, Aligarh, Dholpur and some places of Haryana. So Jats, they emerged as one of the strong power in and around the areas surrounding Delhi. The Sikhs. So Guru Gobind Singh, he transformed the Sikhs into a military community known as the Khalsa. Okay, it was the Guru Gobind Singh who transformed Sikhs, or we can say organized, into a military community known as Khalsa. When the Mughal Empire lost against Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali, it was the Sikhs who actually fought against it or resisted them, and the Sikhs were growing more powerful during this period. Okay, the Sikh during the 18th century, they extended their empire from Indus to Yamuna. It was the Maharaja Ranjit Singh who conquered Kashmir between the areas between the Satluj and Yamuna and established an independent Sikh kingdom with capital at Lahore. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh, he was a brave warrior as well as efficient administrator. He was also a very skillful diplomat, and under him he actually held the East India Company or the British. They were not able to conquer the Sikhs, and it was only after the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh that Punjab was finally annexed by British in 1849. So we see Jats and the Sikhs, they were actually strong and powerful kingdom under many different powerful leaders. Now the next independent kingdom was Awadh. Its founder was Saadat Khan. He was first appointed as the governor of Agra. Okay, and in 1723 he implemented revenue settlement in order to protect the interests of the Rohits or the farmer. So we can say he was a very wise ruler. However, during the Battle of Karnar in 1739, he was captured by Nadir Shah and he died later that year. After Saadat Khan, his son-in-law Safdarjung became the next governor of Awadh. He also became the Wazir of Ahmad Shah. However, in 1752, Safdarjung entered into an agreement with the Maratha against the Ahmad Shah Abdali. However, as per the alliance or agreement, the Marathas was to be paid rupees 50 lakhs, the south of Punjab, Sindh and Doab, in addition with the Subedari of Ajmer and Agra. Okay, now after Safdarjung, his son Sujaud-Dawla became the Subedar of Awadh, and he also became the Wazir of Emperor Alam Shah II. Okay, again he also entered into alliance with the Nawabs of Bengal, Mir Qasim, as well as Emperor Shah Alam II, and they fought against the British. However, their combined army fought against the British in the Battle of Buxar. However, they were defeated and they were forced to sign the Treaty of Allahabad. And with this Treaty of Allahabad, he became a subordinate ally of East India Company. So now after Awadh, let us discuss about Bengal. We can say Murshid Quli Khan was the founder of Bengal. Okay, he was first the governor of Bengal in 1770. And when he became the governor, this unlocked a new era for the Bengal history, as now Bengal slowly started to move away from the control of the rulers who were in Delhi. Okay. So Murshid Quli Khan, he shifted the capital of Bengal from Dhaka to Murshidabad, and once he declared himself as the Nawab of Bengal, he paid very little allegiance to Mughals. Okay, he is credited for building the magnificent Katra Masjid, and after his death in 1727, he is buried below the steps of this masjid only. Murshid Quli Khan, he was succeeded by his son-in-law Sujauddin. He was a wise and charitable ruler who was a great patron of art and culture. Okay, Sujauddin, he was replaced by, or we can say succeeded by his son Sarfaraz Khan. Sarfaraz Khan, he was a courageous ruler. However, he had a very brief career which ended with his defeat in Battle of Giriya against Alivardi Khan in 1740. So Alivardi Khan in Battle of Giriya defeated Sarfaraz, and then his rule came to an end. Now Alivardi Khan became victorious in the Battle of Giriya and then became the Nawab of Bengal. Okay, he ruled for almost 16 years. Okay, though he was a very efficient ruler, during his rule, he faced constant attack from Afghans and the Marathas. Okay, thus in order to achieve peace or attain peace, he had to make treaty or pay tribute to the Marathas. And Alivardi Khan, he was succeeded by his grandson Sirajud-Daulah. So now the province of Bengal, it became prosperous under these rulers because the administration actually replaced many of the corrupt and inefficient Jagirdars also during the rule of all these rulers. Under these rulers, a new class emerged, a new class of Bengali Hindu Zamindar who actually looked into collection of revenue, and this class was very loyal to the rulers. Okay, and the Nawab, they also signed peace treaty with Maratha, in which they promised to pay tribute to Marathas so that the Marathas would stay away from Bengal. However, the province of Bengal was actually annexed by British after two fateful battles, the Battle of Plassey 1757 and the Battle of Buxar, where the combined force was defeated by the British. Thus, Bengal also came under the position of British. So now after Bengal, let us discuss Hyderabad. Hyderabad, or we can say the Deccan, it became an independent kingdom under the Chin Khalid Khan or Nizam-ul-Mulk. So when Aurangzeb died in 1707, Nizam-ul-Mulk was then the governor of Awadh. Okay. In 1713, Farooq Siyar made him the governor of Sikh Subha in Deccan. And later, he became the governor of Malwa in 1719, and in 1720 he showed his military power by defeating the two generals of the Sayyids, Dilawar Ali Khan and Alam Ali Khan. So after defeating the Sayyids, he was made the master of Sikh Subha of the Deccan. Okay, and he was also appointed as the wazir by the Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah. However, he could not adjust with the emperor, and thus he left Delhi and tried to went back to Deccan. However, the Emperor Muhammad Shah, he secretly advised, or you can say ordered, the deputy governor of Deccan, Mubarak Khan, to resist him. So Nizam-ul-Mulk, he actually took help from the Maratha and he fought Mubarak Khan and he killed Mubarak Khan in Berar in October 1724. Thus, from this point onward, he became independent and laid the foundation of Hyderabad state. A year later, 1725, Emperor Muhammad Shah declared him the, or we can say recognized him the Viceroy of the South. Thus, Chin Khalid Khan or Nizam-ul-Mulk, he was a very capable ruler, and Hyderabad prospered under him. Okay, Hyderabad became very well known for its art, culture, cuisine and administration, and his successor ruled Hyderabad till its succession, or we can say merged with Indian Union in 1948 after the independence of India. So this was the independent kingdom of Hyderabad. Now the next independent kingdom is the Rajput, or we can say the Watan Jagids. Okay. So now the Aurangzeb's religious policy had actually distanced the Rajput from the Mughals. Okay, and the Rajput states of Mewar, which is now Udaipur, Marwar, which is now Jodhpur, and Amber, which is now Jaipur, they became independent. And Jodhpur and Jaipur, they played an important role in the post-Mughal period. Now, let us see about Raja Jai Singh. He was a great astronomer and he also built the city of Jaipur. Along with this, he also built many astronomical observatories in places like Jaipur, Banaras, Delhi and Mathura. Apart from him, we also find the Maharajas of Jodhpur and Jaipur. They control a huge area or large territories from Agra to Surat. However, there were many small regional kingdoms, Rajput kingdoms, who never attempted to form confederation even after the decline of Mughals, and they remained loyal to the British as well. And if you look at some of the important and powerful Rajput rulers, we find Raja Ajit Singh and Savai Raja Jai Singh. Okay. Now, the next independent or autonomous kingdom is Mysore. So, Mysore became one of the most powerful kingdom in southern India under the ruler of Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan. Hyder Ali, he was a very efficient ruler and he encouraged trade and craft during his rule. He also built a modern arsenal at Dindi Gul with the help of French. And he were constantly in war against the Marathas and the British. So, he fought against Marathas and British and he took help from the French. After Hyder Ali, his son Tipu Sultan succeeded him. He was also called the Tiger of Mysore. Okay, Tipu Sultan, he made efforts to modernize his navy and he also introduced many modern industries. Also, he also tried to expand international trade. Because he was very powerful, the British found him very, we can say, dangerous for them. So, there was many war with the British in which Tipu Sultan fought valiantly and he died protecting his capital in the last battle, the battle of Seringapatam against the British. Okay. Now, let us discuss the case study of Marathas. So, the Marathas, they arose as the great and mighty force under the Chhatrapati Shivaji. He was the son of Sahaji, who was the chief general of Bijapur. Since Sahaji, father of Shivaji, was mostly away from home, Shivaji was placed under the guardianship of Dadaji Konda Deva. Thus, Shivaji, he grew up to become a very brave and courageous warrior, and not only this, he was also trained in the art of guerrilla warfare. And Shivaji has a dream of establishing a Maratha kingdom. Thus, he actually fought a long war, or we can say a long struggle against the Sultan of Bijapur and Mughal ruler Aurangzeb. And finally, Shivaji crowned himself as the king in the coronation ceremony in 1674 and he assumed the title of Chhatrapati. He also made Raigad his capital, and when he died in 1680, Maratha Empire had already become a very strong and influential power. So, this was the Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji. Now, let us see about administration of Shivaji. So, Shivaji had divided his territory, or we can say he had divided his territory for an efficient administrative system into two divisions. One was called Swarajya, another was called Mughalai. Swarajya, it included the territories that was directly under his rule, and Mughalai, those territories from where he collected Chauth or Sardesh Mukhi. So now, what is Chauth or Sardesh Mukhi? Chauth, it was a tax or a tribute which was imposed by the Marathas, and it was levied at 25% of the total produce or revenue. On the other hand, Sardesh Mukhi, it was 10% which was levied on top of Chauth. So, this was the tax which was levied by the Shivaji during his administration, or we can say under his administration. Now, let us discuss about governance. Shivaji was the supreme head of the central government, and he set up a group of 8 ministers who was called Asta Pradhan, and they were actually responsible for managing the state. Now, division of kingdoms. For efficient administration, the kingdom was divided into subhas. There were several subhas who were actually governed by subedar, and each subhas were actually further divided into smaller unit called parganas. Parganas, it was administrative unit within the subha, and it was managed by mamlatar. Revenue administration. The land revenue, it was fixed at 2/5 of the gross produce, and it was payable in cash or kind, and it was made sure that no hardship would be caused to the cultivators. As such, advance loan, seed to buy cattle, loan to buy seed and cattle was provided, which can be repaid in an annual installment, and all this was done for the convenience of the cultivator. Apart from land revenue, the Marathas, they also collected Chaut and Sardeshmukhi from the Mughal territory. Now let us discuss about the military organization. So Shivaji, he established a highly organized military system. He had a well-equipped standing army consisting of both infantry and cavalry. And the commander-in-chief in his army was called Senapati. All the officers and soldiers, they were paid in cash, and no jagris were given to them. Thus, he evolved a very well-disciplined army. Now, let us discuss the successors of Shivaji. In 1681, Sambhaji, son of Shivaji had two sons, and one of the two sons, Sambhaji, he crowned himself as the leader of Maratha, and he continued the expansionist policy of his father. Okay, and in 1682, Aurangzeb, the then Mughal emperor, he marched toward the Deccan in order to conquer the sultanates of Bijapur and Golconda. And in 1869, Sambhaji was caught and he was killed by Aurangzeb. After Sambhaji, his another brother Rajaram took over the throne, and they continued to fight the Mughals. However, in 1700, Satara was seized by Mughal, and it was during the same time Rajaram also died. Thus, in the mid 18th century, the power was passed from the leaders of Maratha to the Peshwas. Okay, and under the Peshwas, Marathas became one of the dominant political power in the southern India, in fact in the whole of India. So now let us discuss Marathas under the Peshwas control. So after the death of Shivaji and his sons, the power fell into the hand of Peshwas, and the Peshwas, they ruled from Pune, or we can say their seat of power was in Pune. And under the Peshwas, they developed and organized a strong, disciplined army. Okay. The Marathas, they fought against the Mughal, and between 1720 and 1761, Marathas, they expanded their territory. In fact, in 1737, the Peshwas, under the rule of Bajirao, they invaded or raided Delhi, and they started to expand their territory. As such, Marathas' territories expanded in the north in Punjab and Rajasthan, in east Bengal and Odisha, in south Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. However, they did not include all this territory under the Maratha Empire, but they only collected tribute from all these areas. So thus, this is the case study of Marathas, its origin, its important rulers, and the Maratha under the Peshwas. Now let us discuss few important topics that we have discussed in the chapter. The king after the Aurangzeb were all called later Mughals. After the death of Aurangzeb in 1707, all the rulers who came after him were called later Mughals. Many kingdoms became independent in the 18th century. Okay, they were Awadh, Bengal, Hyderabad, Punjab, Mysore, and this was in the same time the Mughal Empire was slowly declining. Bengal became an independent kingdom under Murshid Quli Khan. Awadh under Saadat Khan. Hyderabad, it became an independent kingdom under Chin Quli Khan. He was also known as Nizam ul Mulk. Sikh became a very powerful force under Guru Gobind Singh, and Maratha emerged a very strong and powerful kingdom under the Shivaji. and later under the Peshwas. So with this I conclude the chapter. I hope I was able to clear a doubt regarding this chapter, and we will again meet in our next session. Thank you.